Amanda, and I am serving in Chiang Mai, Thailand as a homeschool teacher for the Baker family.
Hi, we're the Baker family, and Amanda has been here this year teaching our boys homeschool. My name is Lance.
I'm Ruth.
I'm Josiah, I'm 14 years old.
I'm Micah, I'm 12. I'm Alex, and I'm 9.
Our family's been serving in East Asia since 2016, and this is the first time that we've had the amazing blessing of having a full-time homeschool teacher come and join us, which has really freed up my wife to be able to join me directly in ministry on a day-to-day basis. So that's been an amazing blessing, and what we've done is linked up with an organization called Frontier Ventures. Frontier Ventures is probably most well known for their Joshua Project, and what they're doing is setting up a hub specifically in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And so we've been able to help them set up that brand new thing, and it's going to be bringing missionaries in from Latin America, from all through the Americas really, who are going to be coming to reach unreached people groups throughout Asia. And this is kind of the landing city, and they'll come here for 6 to 8 months or so and do language study, cultural acquisition, and just getting used to life in Asia before they then move on to their final destination country.
It's been really great because in our last country, I obviously didn't have a homeschool helper, and it was basically impossible to try to learn language and do homeschool at the same time. And so while our focus was supposed to be language full-time while Amanda was here, because of COVID, it's sort of been on again, off again with the regulations of if you're allowed to meet or not. And so besides learning language, having this new ministry that we can partner with has been a phenomenal blessing. And going forward, Lance will be a lot more involved with it, but the setting up stage initially has been literally buying beds, buying sheets, buying towels, and so it's been neat to have the opportunity to have the time to do that and to help them outfit as they get ready to bring in people from South America to then go. Like Lance said, they'll land here first, get used to the culture before they go more remote and into harder to reach areas. So that has been a huge blessing to have her. And also, just to say, we've had multiple missionary families ask us, where did you get her? How do I get one? And so if anyone's interested in being a homeschool helper, experiencing life on the field and Amanda's had multiple opportunities to be involved in other ministries as well. We have multiple families here who would be greatly blessed to have someone come and help teach their kids so that they can be more involved in the full-time ministry that they have here. So if anyone's interested, someone there can put you in contact with us.
We'd also like to say, as a church, thank you so much for your support of Amanda that has enabled her to come and join us. It's been just an immeasurable blessing. So thank you, and you are in our prayers. And again, thank you.
Like Lance and Ruth said, Thailand is such an amazing place to get connected with different missions. I have been extremely blessed to be able to work with his family and with the boys and help them work in their mission, but also to visit different missions and to volunteer in them, especially if you are curious in doing mission work and you don't know what you want to go into or where specifically you want to go. Chiang Mai is perfect for that because there's missionaries from all over the world who are coming here for vacation or emotional support, whatever it is. But it's just so filled with amazing opportunities, including being a homeschool teacher, because not only are you working with the kids on your own and that is your own mission, but also you're supporting the parents on their mission and whatever they're doing. Thailand is such an amazing place, but also it's a very lost place. I remember the first time I went to visit a Buddhist temple, and the guide told us, he said, if you feel really sad or you feel like a darkness over you or you just want to cry, come to me and we can pray together, because here you can feel the darkness, and not only in the temples, but all around you. We go on prayer walks and stuff like that, and it's also just an amazing opportunity to be here in the community and be able to reach out to local Thais here and help out any way you can start Bible studies. I just want to thank you all for your support financially, emotionally. Thank you for everyone who's reached out and communicated. I really appreciate it. I have gone through hard times and I've gone through amazing times, and I have a few months left here, and so I'm extremely grateful and thank you for your continued support, and we'll see you soon.
I'm telling you, it's gonna get rowdy in here. Like old school rowdy, like us sleeping well. Let us sleeping well awaken. There's a new day on the rise, and the enemy is shaking. As the graveyard springs. Let us sleeping well. Let us sleeping well awaken. There's a new day on the rise, and the enemy is shaking. As the graveyard.
They split us into 3 groups. You kind of saw that in the video. I'll just give you a brief overview of what each group did. The first group was Hammer Time. They were in charge of demolishing a room upstairs. This room had been painted with lead paint, and that's why you saw them with their Tyvek suits and their masks and their glasses and gloves and all that sort of stuff. So halfway through the week, some permitting issues came up, and they had to move Hammer Time to painting. Then once they got those permit issues figured out, half of Hammer Time went back to demolishing, and the other half of Hammer Time stayed painting. The second crew was all the Shingle Ladies. I was a part of this crew. We were in charge of redoing an entire roof. So we took off the old roof, then we cut boards and laid the boards, and then we put on the water and ice and then the shingles. We actually finished our project a day and a half earlier than they thought we would. So then once we were completed, we got moved to join Hammer Time, and also got to do some demo. The last group was Snack Shack Attack. They built a snack shack for in the future. They're hoping to have a pool, and then this would be the concession stand area. So they put up walls, they added siding, just cut out the big hole, that sort of stuff. That's what they did all week. So this was Monday through Thursday was our work project days. That's when each of us broke off into our crews and did our assigned projects. And then Friday was a free day, so we got to walk around the city of Boston, walk the Freedom Trail, go to the beach, that sort of stuff. I was also asked to share just my personal experience with Boston, and I would just say I returned home from the trip very encouraged by the week I had. They just have you, in the morning we had personal devotional time by ourselves, and then at lunch we had our crews gotten ate lunch together, and we had lunchtime devotionals. And then in the evening, we all gathered together and had an evening time of worship and devotional together. And then right before bed, we would have either prayer partners, either groups of 2 or 3, and we would just share our experience from the day and share personal prayer requests and then pray for each other. So I felt like I had a lot of relationships and friendships that deepened throughout the week, and then also my relationship with God was also deepened a lot. So I just returned home, just encouraged by the week I had. I returned home ready to serve Jesus, just excited by what I had learned that week. So yeah, thanks for listening. Hopefully you were also encouraged by what I had to say.
I didn't do anything near as active as they did. Okay, I'm going to start with 2 scriptures. Isaiah 61:11 says, "For as the soil makes the sprout come up, and a garden causes seeds to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness and praise spring up before all nations." And from Revelation 7, after this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and in front of the Lamb. They cried out in a loud voice, "Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb." God's heart is for all people of every culture, language, skin, religion, and tradition. Sometimes in our Midwestern USA world, it is easy for us to forget this truth. It may be easy to think that God is mostly American. Rather, God is above every culture, race, and ethnicity. He is king of a kingdom that is made up of people from every nation who choose him and his son Jesus. This summer, I went on 2 mission trips here in the United States, one to Detroit, to the Detroit area, and the other to Paterson, New Jersey, New York City area. Why did I go? My heart has been for the nations for many years, influenced, I'm sure, by my upbringing in the country of Haiti. Over the last 10 years, I have developed an interest in Muslim people and have read quite a bit about them and their religion. I have also prayed for God to send missionaries to the people who have come to America from other countries. And there are many of them. In fact, the Detroit area is home to the largest portion of Arabs and Iraqis in the United States. The Paterson, New York City area is also home to large populations of Arabs and Middle Eastern people. The 2 trips, how can you summarize 2 trips in a very short time? But I'm going to highlight some of the similarities and differences of those trips for me. Here are some of the similarities. Both trips were about 5 to 6 days in length and worked primarily ministry to the Islamic people group. On both trips, our team that went worked with a missionary couple already established in the area. And on both trips, I went with a team. I didn't go out by myself. So you can put up the first picture there. Okay, this is the team that went to Detroit. That's in the Detroit area. That's the whole team with the missionaries and the team that went. And then photo 2, we can put that up. This is the team that went to Paterson, and you will recognize Connie and myself, and then Amory Young. Some of you know her. She lives in our community, too. And then photo 3 is the missionary couple that worked there in Paterson. Okay, you can take them down. Okay, so those were some of the similarities. The main differences, first of all, as you could see the type of teams that I went on. The first one was a family with 6 children, ages 4 to 14, and 3 young single guys between the ages of 20 and 25. The second team I went on was 2 other women who have both served overseas. So you can see that the dynamics of those teams were very different. The type of ministries was a little bit different also. The trip to Detroit's focus was primarily verbally sharing the gospel in very strategically planned places and ways. This involved training before and during the trip. We interacted with Muslims, offering to pray with them and share the gospel. The Lord led team members to non-Muslims also who needed Jesus. In fact, there was an 83-year-old woman who accepted Christ. She was white Caucasian, so that was a cool story. Anyway, contacts were made that the missionary couple who lives there can follow up with. So the trip to Paterson was more multi-focused. We had service projects, tract distribution, and sightseeing. As we visited stores, restaurants, and walked the streets of Paterson with the missionary woman, we met people in the community that the missionaries can now further connect with. In this way, we served to be an excuse for the missionaries to meet new people in that city. But not all events worked out as planned, as often does in mission trips, as 2 of the 3 service projects petered out. As time went on, the 3 of us who went there realized that part of our purpose in being there was for relationship building and encouragement with the family that we stayed with, and also the missionary woman, the missionaries who took us everywhere and introduced us to the life there in Paterson. Indeed, those who serve with hospitality and those who serve as missionaries, they need care and attention also. So that's part of what we realized our purpose was when we went to Paterson. So, what did these trips mean to me? It was really special to be able to actually meet some of the missionaries who work there and to see them in action. I've prayed for them without knowing who they were, and so I got to meet them. And there are many more out there, I'm sure. It was great to be actually on the ground and be physically part of what God is doing there. It was great to experience new languages, food, clothes, and culture. And it was great to do some cool sightseeing. I come away with a better understanding of how to pray for the missionaries and a higher motivation to be faithful to serve God where I am. There are many details not mentioned in this little talk about my trips, so if you have questions, you can ask me during the ice cream time. Thank you. And now Audrey is going to come up and share about Slovakia.
Hello, my name is Audrey, and I went to Slovakia this summer again for the second time. I was there as an intern in 2019, and I loved it, and I couldn't wait to go back. And I'm sure you guys know enough about Slovakia from Ed and Wendy and just sharing here recently about it, but I'll kind of give you a brief overview of camp. In any case, there was 6 of us that went this summer, so a pretty small team, and we split up into 2 different camps. So when we first got there, we went to short-term team training, where we were all together, the 6 of us, along with another team from North and South Carolina. And basically, we were learning about the culture of Slovakia and how things work at camp, how to interact with the students, and seeing where their background is from. Slovakia has a lot of Catholics, and so there's a lot of strong Catholic backgrounds, but where the students are at now is kind of breaking away from that tradition because they've got grandparents that forced them to go to church. They really didn't want anything to do with it, and it wasn't anything about a personal relationship with Christ. And so now you see a lot of people kind of stepping into a time of like having no faith and not wanting much to do with it. So it was cool to learn about the culture of Slovakia, going back again. And then after the training, then we went to camp. And that's when we split up. So I went with Esther Berkey and Anna Hilrich, and we went to camp. And the focus of camps is basically for high schoolers, and one of the biggest draws of camps is the English programs, because they learn English from a young age in their schools, but it's a chance to practice and get to speak with real Americans and kind of learn some of our culture. We always have like a night where we do s'mores and like fun American stuff and get to just speak with the students and interact with them. But we also have a sports track at a lot of camps and also a music track at a lot of camps. So it's a really cool way to interact with students in ways that they enjoy. And our camp was pretty big. We had about 40 students and a team of about 30 people between us Americans and the Slovak leaders. So it was really fun to get to connect in with the students. Basically, the camp kind of schedule, like in the morning and evening, it starts and ends with programs where you kind of talk over the schedule. You hear testimonies from leaders and even other students. You play a lot of games and just get to interact and have a lot of fun time together. And then each night, then one of the leaders will give a talk about Christ, and then it kind of builds up to the 5th night of camp, which is the gospel night. So that's when we present a very clear message of the gospel and what it means to follow Jesus and who he is to us and what he could be to them if they choose to accept him. So that's kind of the focus of camps, and then it builds up to after camp, which is what we call follow-ups. And that's like the hard work of the missionaries that are over there and the church leaders that are there, because that's connecting in with the students after the excitement of camp, the week long that everything's hyper, you get all messy together and you just have fun and you know, it's really hyped up, and then there's the school year and things are hard, and even last year with COVID, it's online and it's real life, and that's what the people there deal with. And so the follow-ups are kind of geared towards connecting the students back into local churches where there's leaders that can care about them, can talk with them, and can keep them grounded in their faith in Christ. And I know that this is a time to share like exciting stories of like how the Lord's working and things like that, and I could share so many things about how God's working out in Slovakia and doing amazing things. But I also want to share kind of a brief story about a friend that I reconnected with that I knew from a couple years ago. And it was really cool because he was able to be honest with me. He came to camp again, and it was really fun to connect with him and see where he was at. But he's had a difficult time at school the last couple years. And it's sad because he's walked away from his faith in God. And it's so hard to come back and like see these people that you really love that were so strong and on fire for the Lord like a couple years ago. and then to see them struggling and kind of lost and losing connection with their church. And so that's the whole reason that the missionaries are there, is to bring them back into the church, to show these students that they're loved. So from that kind of story and talking with that person, I would just encourage you to keep praying for the people in Slovakia, the students and the leaders working with the students, because it's a hard thing, and you get into real life and school and being isolated, and it's hard to stay strong in your faith sometimes when you feel like you're the only one. And I think that's what my friend experienced. So that helps kind of encourage me to see, like, I can be doing so much while I'm here, like in America, going to church here, being able to like pray for my friends, because I think prayer is so powerful and so much stronger than we realize. But I had a great time at camp, and it was really fun to be able to share my testimony and to connect back in and see how other leaders are really excelling in their work for Christ and how they really love others. And the team I worked with is a big team, and they work really well together. They've been together for years and years, and it's really cool to see how much they love the students and just work really well together. So it was a super encouraging time, and to hear about the follow-ups and everything that the leaders there are continuing to do. So I was really excited to go and be able to be there and reconnect in with people, and the Lord's doing a great thing, and it's really cool to see where they're at and to be able to pray for them. So I've got a couple pictures that we'll kind of play in a slideshow so you guys can see a little bit of what the camp feel is like. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Caleb, and I took Ava and Lauren to another camp in a town called Nova Mesto. Or it was the church was in Nova Mesto, and the camp was out, or the leadership was from that church. So I just have some pictures to go through. I think Audrey covered kind of the purpose of camp and everything pretty well, but just share some stuff from my camp. You can throw those up. That's Jelena, where all 6 of us trained for these camps. We got to spend a good amount of time going around the city and exploring and stuff, so that was pretty cool. You can go ahead to the next one. That's like an aerial view of our camp. It's a pretty cool place. I guess a bunch of different people rent this place out for whatever kind of camp, and it was a really cool place. You can go to the next one. Oh yeah, so the students arrived. There's like a couple buses that came. You can go to the next picture. And there's this one girl, Bashka. So she was not happy to be there when she got there. She was just frowning and like not engaging in the activities. And beforehand, I was thinking like there's gonna be like a couple students I can like relate to, or just try to like specifically like I should try to talk to them. And I instantly knew I just wanted to like get through to her, you know, and just try to be friendly and just, yeah, soften her, I guess. So I tried to be friendly in my, you know, brief interactions with her. And before we really got like talking, she came up to me and she has her phone and she shows me this picture, the next picture. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Terminator franchise, but Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Skynet sends this guy back into the past to kill John Connor, I think his name is. So he's the bad guy. And she's like, you remind me of this guy. And she's like, every time I see you, I smile because you remind me of him. Now, on one hand, I was glad I could, you know, make her smile or whatever, make her happy. On the other, I don't want to walk around camp like I'm on a murderous rage, you know, trying to terminate someone. But that was the start of like me talking to her. So, yeah, and actually we talked more, and her English isn't really good, but like she tried, and she even like wrote a note at the end of camp saying, like, I don't like a lot of people, but I like you, and you know, even though my English is bad, like we had good chats like every time we talked. So I was really humbled to be used by God in that way to get through to this person, Bashka. So I guess that's it for her. Next slide. Oh yeah, so just if you're curious, like what a day at camp looks like. Main program, breakfast, main program in the morning, English for 3 days. That was like a big attraction for like these students to come to these camps, is like American people teaching English. And you know, there's a few like unique days with a hike and an English contest. But yeah, go ahead to the next slide. That's Alex's English class. He was at my camp, which was pretty awesome to be around him and just see him. Go ahead to the next slide. A picture of him, because why not? Next. That's Adam. I feel like maybe you mentioned Adam when you were talking. He was the leader. Oh, so Adam's on the right here. He was the leader of our camp. He's only like 21 years old, but he was just a super extroverted and just a really good leader. So yeah, he was awesome to be around. A really fun guy. Next. So this is my Bible study workshop. So on like day 4 or something, there was a ton of different workshops where, I don't know, you could just learn something. There's like a hair braiding one and like different crafts or whatever. I did a Bible study workshop because like I'm a massive nerd about the Bible. And like I got out of my comfort zone in this trip a lot, but even though this was like 2 hours in front of people, like I was totally in my element because, I don't know, I just like love the Bible. And there's an intern there who was also studying Bible stuff, theology. So she was like really good at like translating like the technical terms and whatnot. And I mean, these students were like, that came here were, I think almost all of them were already like Christians or going to church, so they had some interest. But still, it was good, and they said they were blessed by it. So I was really excited about how that went. You can go to the next picture. One of the things we talked about was Psalms and what Psalms is and just the structure of it. And we read Psalm 88, or they read it in Slovak, and we talked about it. So yeah, that was a good time. Next picture. This is Alexa. So there's I was blown away by how many deep conversations I had with the students, just the quantity and depth of all of them. But one time we were just chilling in the courtyard, and I was with an intern and a bunch of students, and we were asking deep questions about what's hard about faith. And I think she asked what's an intense experience of God that you have. And people had stories of healings that they witnessed, and stuff like that. And she was saying in Slovak, one time I was in church and the priest was giving the Eucharist, and she was just all of a sudden, and so someone was translating, just had this joy fill her, just unexplainable joy, and she started crying, and then she said in English, it was very beautiful. And I was very moved by this, just to see someone in another denomination across the world experiencing God the same way I do. And she made me want to cry with her just because it was such a beautiful time hearing from those students. So there are several stories like that at camp. So go ahead, next slide. More Alex, next. So I don't have really any interest in watching sports or American football in general, or at all. But my team utterly destroyed in football. And I don't know, it was funny, just so they don't play American football over there. And I know enough to know some of the different plays or whatever, and it's just kind of hilarious to see them wait, what just happened? But that was fun. I was very surprised that we did as well as we did. But anyway, next. This is something random. There's a Washington license plate on this car that was at this camp we were at, so it was just kind of weird. I don't know where that came from, but yeah. Next slide. And we went to a Lutheran church service after camp was over. We went back to Nova Mesto, and it was pretty awesome. Adam, the church leader, or the camp leader, his dad was the minister here. Next slide, and he gave a message on the two parables, and it was all in Slovak. So I couldn't really understand, but I took the picture to translate that. And then next slide, Adam plays the organ there, and I thought the organ was awesome, and it's just awesome that that was just something he did. So I really was blessed by that service, and just to be able to worship with them, even though I didn't understand everything that was being said. But you can go to the next slide. Yeah, and that's it. And yeah, come up to me and ask whatever questions if you want. I'll be here for ice cream. And I think Tressa and Adele are up. So thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Adele. So Tressa and I were down in Mexico for 9 months this past year. We are serving with an organization called Radius International. They are a training program for missionaries, and so potential missionaries come down, live in Tijuana for 9 months, go through a training program. Yeah, it's just a really great organization, and we were able to serve there with the families and the kiddos of some of the families up there. You can put the first picture up. Okay, so there were 3 of us. We're called short-term staff, so Tressa, Anna, and me, and the 8 kids that we got to work with. So we love them dearly. They were really fun. So we left the end of August last year, came back for about 5 weeks over Christmas break, and then went back in January, and then got home again in the middle of June. So I'll start with just explaining what Radius is. So I said they're a missionary training program, so they are focused on reaching the unreached peoples of the world through church planting. So the goal of the students is to go and get training on how to go live in another context, how to learn a language, how to learn culture, how to just fit into a new group of people, and then eventually after they've mastered the language, how to present the gospel and gather followers into a church, set up a healthy church with biblical elders and leadership, and then eventually after that's done, they'll help with translation of the Bible into that native tongue and leave a healthy, self-sustaining church. So that is the goal of the students going there. So they go to Radius for 9 months for training. Some of the students were ready to go pretty much right after that. Some of them were going to come back home and go through seminary or other training with their church before they head to the field. So down in Tijuana, there were 2 campuses of Radius International doing the same program. They were about 15 minutes apart. The second campus opened up a couple years ago after they were growing and needed more space for people. So there were about 60 to 70 students total this year, about 30 on our campus with the 8 children and 3 STS, and then on the other campus, there were another 35 or so students with 14 children and 5 short-term staff. So we got to interact a lot with the students, the staff there, obviously Anna, our roommate, the kids, and go into the culture some as well. So for the students, they go there. The curriculum is pretty intense. They do a lot of culture and language acquisition, so how to learn a language. What do you do once you get to a new context? How do you learn that? How do you pick up language? How do you get through to fluency? And a big part of the program, the students are involved with native speakers of the Spanish language, so they get to interact with them. They get to go through the same sort of course that they would in their next context. So they get to really like live that out and practice it while they're down in Mexico. So it's just a practice for when they go to their next context. They also learn biblical foundations and spiritual foundations, really just getting solid in their theology and what they are going to explain to these people in another language. There's lots of character development with how the program is set up, early morning workouts, lots of chores, living in a really tight-knit community, having to go out and practice your Spanish. Sometimes feel kind of stupid when you don't know what you're saying and still have to communicate, have to figure out where you're going to do your laundry and what grocery stores to go to and things like that. So it's just a very intentional program with the students of how they're going to do this in their next context. So after the students graduate from Radius, most of them will go home to their local churches. A lot will go straight into support raising. Some of them, like I said, might go to seminary or do other training through their church. And then after they're fully supported, eventually they choose an organization, choose a team, choose a country or a people group. Some of that happens before Radius, some of it happens while they're there, some of it happens after. It just depends on the individual or the family. And then they will move to their first context, which would be more of a larger city in a country, to learn the trade language, get more acclimated to the culture, learn that language to fluency, and then after that move into their smaller unreached people group, learn that language to fluency, and then when they can, when they're fluent in that language, then they can present the gospel, go through creation to Christ in the native tongue, explain the Bible to these people who have never heard it, and Lord willing, gather believers into a group, disciple them, continue to teach them how to study the Bible, and over years raise up elders in the church, set up a healthy church, and go through Bible translation. So it's like a huge task, obviously. There are over 3,000 unreached people groups still in the world who have never heard the name of Jesus and don't know anything about him, who have no chance of salvation unless people go. So that's what these students are doing. They're going to those people, explaining the gospel, explaining who Jesus is and how he came to save them, and just raising them up to support their own church in their native tongue instead of just going and evangelizing and leaving. They want to really leave something that will last through the generations to these people. So you can go to the next slide. Oh, well, that's okay. This is the view from the roof. So our campus, it had 3 stories on the main building and then a really beautiful rooftop with a patio and chairs. It was really nice. And this is a view of the sunrise one morning. So it was really, really fun, really a great place to be. So the short-term staff, they have girls come down for the school year. There were 8 of us this year, 3 on our campus and 5 on the other, who do the child care during the classes. So the parents are in class Monday through Friday from 8 to noon, so we have the kids while the parents are in class. So that's the main reason why we were there. But even the program with us was really intentional, lots of character development and spiritual growth. So Tressa is going to talk more about what our lives looked like.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what a general week would look like. So like Adele said, our primary responsibility down there was childcare. So that was Monday through Friday, 7:45 to 12:15. And originally when we found out about it, we'd explain to people, well, we didn't really know what to say. But it wasn't like we just babysat the kids every morning for 4 hours. So they had like a certain curriculum that we had to include, but within that, we had a lot of freedom to make it how we wanted. So we had Bible time every day. Adele and the other STS, Anna, they were with the baby toddlers, so theirs looked a little different than if you were to have older kids. And then I worked with 4 preschoolers. So we'd have Bible time every day. We'd read them a story, sing songs, do a memory verse. Another element that we had, which was really fun, was country time. We basically had like a big binder with like a bunch of countries from all over the world. And every week we'd pick a different country and we would get to teach the kids about that, just to start showing them pictures of what food would look like in different countries, or what the landscape would look like, or what the people would wear, because the kids are going to be moving overseas one day, just so when they see that in the future, they're not like, oh, that's weird, like just so they start to learn that like other countries do things differently, and that's good, and just to start to expose them to other cultures at a early age. And the kids really love that too, especially learning about the animals in other countries. That was one of their favorites. So we do have country time, Bible time. We also have like free play time. We have playgrounds outside and we play inside. We have like quiet time, snack time, craft time, games. So the day was more structured than just a bunch of free play. So we did that from 7:45 to 12:15 Monday through Friday, and that was like our main role. And then some of the other tasks we did, we cleaned guest rooms. We actually got kind of lucky with our year for COVID. Sometimes there'd be like 2-week periods with no guests because we weren't allowed to have guests on campus. And then some weeks you could have like 10 guest rooms to clean. So that was the STS responsibility, was cleaning guest rooms. So that's not set times, but it just depends looking on the calendar when guests arrive. And then when we leave, we clean the room. And then also meals. So we had 3 local Mexican ladies. They came and they came all morning and cooked our lunch for us. And so then once a week, we'd each take turn cleaning up the lunch. And then for dinner, they would prep dinner or set it out, and then we would go and heat it up in the evenings. So that was another part of our role. So like a general week, like Adele said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we had 6 a.m. workouts, which were mandatory for us to go to, but it was good for us to go. And then we had childcare from 7:45 to 12:15, and then after that, all of us and the students, we all ate lunch together. The afternoons varied. So the students have this language sessions for 1 hour every day in the afternoon, and Adele and I had the opportunity to have language sessions 2 times a week. You can go to the next picture. Yeah, that's the picture of all the STS. You can go to the next one. So here is a picture of the childcare time. So this is a picture of some of the kids. In the top right corner, this kids also had the opportunity to have a local lady come in. This is Itzia, she's 20, and she was able to like teach them Spanish, once again, just to expose them to another language, because that's something they're going to be having for the rest of their lives. So that was fun. They got to learn like colors and animals and different phrases. That was really fun. You can go to the next picture. And so, like I was saying with the language session, so Adele's and I's language helper was Itzia. So we would have her 2 afternoons a week for 1 hour. And it was to learn Spanish, but by the end, me and Adele just did it for the friendship, because our Spanish wasn't really growing much. But she was really fun, and we really loved getting to hang out with her. We would get to go out to eat with her and hang out with her outside of those times. And it was fun because she was 21, so she was near our age, so it felt like more of like an actual friendship we had. It would have been fun to have someone older too, but it was fun. She felt like like, this is our friend Itzia. So it was really fun to get to know her throughout the year, and also learn Spanish from her. You can go to the next picture. So yeah, the afternoons, we'd have language session twice a week, and then depending on the day, you might have guest rooms to clean, you might have free time. And then we also had personal growth assignments, so we had different books to read, different memory things we had to do throughout the year. So sometimes in the afternoon, we'd oftentimes go up on the roof and we'd read our books or type up our assignments. But we also had the freedom, which was really fun, to go out into the community and explore the culture. And we really loved doing that. So we had the freedom to go out like by ourselves or together. We could take a taxi or walk. So here are just a couple pictures. The beach is like 15-minute Uber drive away, so that was fun. We went there a lot when it was warm outside. We went to go to different restaurants and taco stands or just walk around the streets, walk in the different shops. There were some really pretty hikes around that we got to do. So it was just really a fun opportunity to be able to explore that culture. Just in our free time, like whenever we could, we would just go off and see different parts of the community. So that was really fun as well. You can go to the next picture. And then that's just another picture of our class. And so then in the evenings, we'd prep the meals and put them out. And then in the after dinner, me and Adele were both taking one online class through community college. So sometimes we would work on that, or you can work on other assignments you have. And then also throughout the year, you're assigned one of the female students to hang out with. So that was a really fun opportunity. Everyone is very busy. Like Adele said, the students have a lot of work to do. So it was fun to have intentional time set aside to hang out with the different female students one-on-one. So sometimes in the evenings, you would go out to eat with them or go out to coffee and just talk to them and just get to know them better, which was a really cool opportunity. So one thing that I really learned, I learned a lot this year, just my first year being away from home, living in a different culture. There was lots of ways to grow, but one thing that I really wrestled with at the beginning was seeing all these students and like hearing their testimonies and like hearing what they were doing. Like I almost felt like is my faith like even anything? Like look at what these students are doing. They like love the Lord, the way they know their Bible. Like it was just really amazing, and I felt almost discouraged, like seeing their faith. But throughout the first couple of months, like getting to talk to them more, one, they were just very open and honest. Like some days, like it's very hard to be here. It's hard to trust the Lord in this. Like open and honest about their struggles. So being able to like relate to people who were even like 10 years older than me were like sharing with me their struggles, which that was really cool just to like realize like these aren't perfect people, like these aren't special people God has called to go to the field, but they're people who love Him and are willing to sacrifice for Him. So just getting to see that like these are ordinary people who God has called. But also it was a really big encouragement to see these people who are like 10 years older than me and see where their faith is and see how much they love the Lord and how much they know about their Bible, and just be encouraged that like there's always going to be more ways to grow. There's always more to know about God, and be encouraged like I want to begin to read more books and I want to grow in my disciplines the way they're disciplined. So it was an encouragement to see their faith, just like they're 10 years older than me and how they're loving the Lord and serving Him, but also like these aren't perfect people, like they still make mistakes, but the Lord loves them anyway and they're willing to serve and sacrifice for Him.
Yeah, a couple things that I learned. So we talked a lot about like self-discipline and pursuing holiness just throughout the year through the books we were reading and a lot of the classes that the students were taking. And that was just something that I was really encouraged by. I hadn't really ever like heard a lot of that taught of how we're supposed to pursue the Lord in holiness and not conform to the ways of the world, but to be really intentional with how we're seeking Him. And we read The Spiritual Disciplines for the Christian Life by Donald Whitney, and that was like such an encouraging book. I would really encourage it for everyone. We did it like a chapter at a time and wrote up a little summary of the chapter. So it went through a bunch of spiritual disciplines like prayer and Bible intake and meditation and journaling and just really important aspects of our walk with the Lord that sometimes can get kind of pushed to the wayside in the busyness of life. So that was just really encouraging, and to live among a group of people that was so intentional and like-minded and just really set on taking the gospel to all the nations, and just in such a group of people who love the Lord. So that was a really encouraging part of the year as well that really didn't have much to do with the childcare. So that was really unexpected blessing. And then also, kind of like Tressa said, we just learned a lot about the importance of knowing scripture and theology and just like studying the Bible in a way that I didn't ever really do before. The students were all really intentional with us about encouraging us in that and showing us different ways that we can study the Bible and pursue the Lord more. And just being in that community where we were constantly being poured into was just a really sweet time of growth. So yeah, we both learned a ton this year. It was so encouraging. We learned a lot about ourselves and about the Lord and how to serve him better, how to teach children well, how to live in community, how to be humbled by different cultures and languages. Yeah, just so much. So we're both very, very thankful for all of you who have been supporting us and praying for us. It was such a gift and a blessing to be able to be part of the Great Commission like this and to serve these families who are now going to the ends of the earth. So we just want to say thank you very much, and we would love to talk to you guys more if you have any questions. We have tons of pictures, and yeah, just very thankful for that. So I think that's all we have to say. I think Brady might be coming up.
All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight. And I just want to say, not growing up in Tremont and not growing up here at Northfield, praise God for Northfield and how seriously all of us take missions, right? Whether it's short-term trips for a week, whether it's almost a year or an entire life of I'm going to go and possibly never come back. So it's really an honor and a privilege for us to be here and to see a group of people love the nation so well. So thank you for sharing, for everyone who did. I'm going to pray for us, and then we can go eat some ice cream. So let's pray. God, thank you that you are a God of the nations, that you are creator of all, and that you dearly love your creation. And you have sent us as your disciples, as your followers, to go and love our neighbor across the street, to love the people in our community, to love the people at our work and in our schools, and to love the people across the world whom we haven't met yet. And I just pray that we would be a people who constantly hold our life with open hands, that we would want your will to be done above all else, and whatever that means for us individually, that we would be content and we would be ready to answer the call. So I thank you for the groups who shared tonight, for the opportunities that everyone had, and I pray that it wouldn't just be a mission trip. I pray that it wouldn't just be a mission experience, but it'd be a lifestyle, to see our entire lives as an opportunity to preach the gospel and to love and serve our neighbor. So God, we love you, and we pray this in Jesus' name. And everyone said,